Prediction Central Podcast, Hate Me or Love Me, there's no in between. So, Matthew McConaughey was called to the White House a few days ago to give his analogy on how he feels about what went down in his hometown, Uvalde, Texas. They brought an actor in to help with the actor crisis. That's acting crisis actors, whatever you want to fucking call them. But he did play a good part. But he had some good speaking points with his little speech that they had put together. It looked like they put together a speech for him. I'm not because when what's her name, Corinne Jean Pierre, the press secretary, she walked off, but she put these certain notes on top of the podium that he's actually reading from. But it's from Good Morning America, fair use. I see he has some good speaking points on how we're being divided again, and we should come together and actually have some type of gun control. But you can't get gun control if you keep it away from the law-abiding citizens. And also, law-abiding citizens will obtain illegal firearms as well to protect themselves just as much as the criminals is doing at a high rate. So, here's speaking points, and I'll come back and comment on it.
Share my stories from my hometown, Uvalde. Came here to take meetings with elected officials on both sides of the aisle. We came here to speak to them, to speak with them, and to urge them to speak with each other. To remind and inspire them that the American people will continue to drive forward the mission of keeping our children safe. Because it's more than our right to do so, it's our responsibility to do so. I'm here today in the hopes of applying what energy, reason, and passion that I have into trying to turn this moment into a reality. Because as I said, this moment is different. We are in a window of opportunity right now that we have not been in before. A window where it seems like real change can happen. We also met Anna and Danilo, the mom and stepdad of 9-year-old Maite Rodriguez. Now, Maite wanted to be a marine biologist. She was already in contact with Corpus Christi University of A&M for her future college enrollment. 9 years old. Maite cared for the environment so strongly that when the city asked her mother if they could release some balloons into the sky, in her memory, her mom said, "Oh no, Maite wouldn't want to litter." Maite wore green high-top Converse with a heart she had hand-drawn on the right toe because they represented her love of nature. Camilla's got these shoes. Can you show these shoes, please? Wore these every day. Green Converse with a heart on the right toe. These are the same green Converse on her feet that turned out to be the only clear evidence that could identify her after the shooting. How about that? Maite wrote a letter. Her mom said if Maite's letter could help someone accomplish her dream, that then her death would have an impact. And it would mean her dying had a point and wasn't pointless. That it would make the loss of her life matter. The letter reads, "Marine biologist, I want to pass school to get to my dream college. My dream college is in Corpus Christi by the ocean. I need to live next to the ocean because I want to be a marine biologist. Marine biologists study animals and the water. Most of the time I will be in a lab. Sometimes I will be on TV." We also met a cosmetologist. She was well-versed in mortuary makeup. That's the task of making the victims appear as peaceful and natural as possible for their open casket viewings. These bodies were very different. They needed much more than makeup to be presentable. They needed
So you seen from Matthew McConaughey, right? Hitting the podium and all that with his passionate speech that was probably written for him as well. So now you need to tell us about you took interview or you spoke with a mortuary makeup or cosmetologist artist for a mortuary, how they need to restore the bodies because they couldn't really. I cut that off at that point, but they saying that it was a lot of issues with the doing the makeup for the young children because the exit wounds were so big. America is divided again. America will continue to be divided because this is what they wanted: chaos before order, and they do plan on bringing in order. So, New York already passed the worst gun laws, as usual. Supreme Court next week is voting on the Second Amendment for New Yorkers to actually open carry in New York. I think it should happen. Fuck it. It is what it is, because niggas need to protect themselves. When niggas jump out of a fucking car, you minding your business, they jumping out of the car and they trying to pull a weapon out. You need to pull your weapon out and knock them niggas down. But you can't tell Costco's or fucking PC Riches to stop making printers, because they're printing 3D guns. All you gotta do is print all these guns and just get the certain mechanisms a clip in the firing pin. You can order a firing pin in different states. You can't order a firing pin in New York, but you get a firing pin for whatever weapon that you're printing in a different state. New York, you can't have nothing sent to you. A crossbow, a knife, a fucking butterfly, a gun, an airsoft gun. You can't get nothing delivered to New York. Nothing that shows that you have a weapon. They don't play that bullshit. So, Matthew McConaughey, they pulled him out the vote. He looks good for his age, but I can see that he's part of this bullshit problem. And they using someone with their platform to actually tell us that we're not divided and we need to actually stand together against gun violence. Gun violence is gun violence. It's going to happen regardless. But schools do not need to be shot up. So the teachers either need to arm themselves, or you need SGO that they said that is armed. You need, and the schools aren't making enough money to have these officers there armed. It is what it is. And that's why certain schools in New York City is already locked down. You can't even go inside and get certain kids out of certain schools. Success Academy, Charter Academies, I know I go to my son's school to pick him up. They don't even let us in the building. They do not let us in the building at all at this fucking school. It is purely locked down. We have to wait for all the children to come outside. You just can't walk into the school. They do not play that bullshit. And that's the measures that certain people have to take. You just can't let anybody in the schools anymore. And public schools is the number one thing in New York City that they need to adapt to the charter schools and success academies and excellent schools or stuff like that. But it's fucking insane to see Matthew McConaughey making a mockery of himself as usual. These actors always do this bullshit. Like, we're going to listen to an actor, but we state the facts. The law-abiding citizens are going to suffer. The law-abiding citizens are going to wind up acquiring guns illegally as well as the criminals. So you shouldn't take away those rights. But the criminals with felonious records, they will suffer and they cannot buy guns. But 3D printing is going to be the next big issue. This is the technology that we resulted in putting forward into our society. And this is the results of that technology being in our society. Canada, that nigga Trudeau, he banned the guns already. And it makes no sense. You can't ban the guns against a law-abiding citizen, but a criminal can buy a 3D printer and print guns. It makes no sense. The law-abiding citizen doesn't even think about printing guns because he's not even going down that rabbit hole to even do research on that shit. He knows he could go purchase a gun legally. And you have to see the issues at hand. You got the drug on war, the war on drugs, the war on guns, the war on gangs, the war on fucking the corrupt judicial system and legislation that we have today. It's crazy. But Matthew McConaughey, would you fucking knock it off? I understood your points, but you didn't have to bring no fucking green Converses to a fucking press conference. And you're reading fucking goddamn clip notes from the fucking press secretary. All right, you're from Uvalde. We understand. You should pay for the fucking funerals if you got the money with that Lincoln goddamn endorsement. But we don't need celebrities in the bullshit, because celebrities do not live these lives of American or minority or fucking illegals that come into this country. You're above the rest, so you don't have to deal with certain bullshit. It is what it is, man. Predictions Ascension Podcast. Hate me or love me. There's no in between. Mass shooting hysteria. Predictionsascension at gmail.com. Prediction Ascension TM on IG and Prediction Ascension TM on Twitter. Follow me. Show me some fucking love. It is what it is. Like, comment, and fucking subscribe. Help out the algorithm.